Hello everyone. Today let's solve the problem number 5, longest palindromic substring. So what the question states here, we are given a string S. You can clearly see here. We are given a string S and we need to find the longest palindromic substring within it. So we have to find the longest palindromic substring within it, right? So a palindrome is a string that reads the same forward and backward. So palindrome is a string which reads the same forward and backward. So you can just consider the string, this one BAB. So it reads the same this one forward and backward, right? So this is considered as palindrome. I hope this is clear. So let's come to the first example here. You can clearly see input. Yes, they have given here BAD. So here the possible palindromic substring is single letter is palindrome of itself, right? So you can consider this one. We have three letters A, B and D here. So this is palindrome of itself. And two more palindromes we have, that is BAB and ABA, right here. So these are the two more palindromes that we have. So we have to return the longest palindromic substring, right? Either we can this substring is of length 3. You can clearly see here. Also this is of length 3 as well. Either we can return this substring or we can return this substring, as it is the longest palindromic substring for the input, this one BABAD. So that's what they have given in the question. Either we can go with this or we can go with this. Same thing goes with the example 2 as well here. CBBD. So CBD is one palindrome and BB. These are the four palindromes we have. The longest palindromic substring here would be BB of length 2, right? So the output will be BB in this case. In this case, we can return either BAB or ABA. In this case, BB is the output. I hope the question is completely clear what we need to do and what the question states. So I hope that is completely clear. Now what we will do, we will discuss the approach followed by edge cases one by one, and then finally write the code and discuss the complexities of the code that we have written. Now let's discuss the let's discuss the approach step by step. First thing that you need to consider here is, or you need to know here is, we'll be making use of the dynamic programming or 1D DP, right, to solve this problem. So I have considered the same example, first example that they have given in the question. So here string is this one, BAD they have given. Output has to be either BAB or ABA, because we have to return the longest palindromic substring, right? So here I have considered the substring same. Let's come to the first step. So what we will do here, we will initialize the DP array, and we have already discussed that we'll be making use of the dynamic programming approach. Why? Because to keep track of whether the substrings are palindrome or not, using a Boolean DP array. We'll be making use of the Boolean DP array just to find out the substrings are whether palindrome or not, means either true or false, right? So if it is a substring, it will be true. If it is not a palindromic substring, then that will be false, right? So that is why we'll be maintaining the DP array, Boolean DP array. First step here is, let's initialize the DP array here. So here let me consider DP of J here. DP of J represents whether S of Ij, this one, is a palindrome or not. DP of J here represents whether S of Ij is a palindrome or not. And also we will set the maximum length here to 1. Why we are setting maximum length to 1 here? Because minimum palindrome is a single letter in this case initially, right? So initially we will initialize the DP array. So minimum palindrome is a single letter initially. So we will set the maximum length initially to 1. This we have to keep in mind. So this is when max length is equal to this is when we initialize the DP array. Second step is, let's iterate from the last character. We are iterating from the last character. Just remember this one. So here this is at the index 0, this is at the index 1, and this is at the index 2, and this is at the index 3, and this is at the index 4. So here what we will do, we will be starting from the I equals 4, or when index equals 4. This one we will be starting with initially D. Just give me a second. Let's consider D here in this case. So in this case, when I equals 4, we are considering all the substrings, all the palindromic substrings. So in this case, only the palindromic substring will be here D, right? So when I equals 4, only the palindromic substring here will be D. Nothing but we are checking all the substrings ending at J here, right? So the next step here, when I equals 3. So when I equals 3 means here, let's come here when index equals 3, right? So we will be checking for A here. So palindromic, we have to check the palindromic substrings that is ending at A, right? So here in this case, it will be A and BA, right? These are the palindromic substrings that are ending at A and BA here, right? So by looking at the example, we can say here. So next what we will do, we will check when I equals 2, means this one, B, means we have to check all the palindromic substrings ending at B, right? So here, all the palindromic substrings that are ending at B are here. One is a single letter is always a palindrome of itself. This one, BA, we will go with this one. So here, yeah. So starting from B, sorry, I said ending at B, right? Starting from B, this will be BAB, BAD, sorry. We have to check all the palindromic substrings that is ending at J, right? Yeah. So in this case, just give me a second. So yeah, we have to consider ABD, right? So this one we are considering last three. First we considered only D. Second we considered A and D. Third we are considering B, A and D. These three strings. So I forgot this one. This is fine. We will be checking for B, BA, BAD and ABA, right? So in this case, we will be having only ABA as palindrome. In this case, when I is 2. Here also we will check for A and AD here. In this case, when I equals 3, right, we will be checking for A and AD. A and AD here. This is fine. So only A will be the palindrome. Sorry, I explained this one wrong. Only A will be the palindrome in this case, right? So I totally forgot this one. Means we have to consider here one by one letter at a time, right? So now we will consider A. Means when I equals 1. Let me come here. When I equals 1, here we got answer only A. In this step we got answer only D, and in this step we got ABA. In the third step, when I equals 1, we will come here. Let's check for A, AB. We will check for ABA. Also, we will check for ABAD here. So in this case, what are all the characters that we can consider here? A, B, A and D we can consider, right? A, B, D we can consider. So for this one we will be checking whether it is a palindrome or not, right? So here, so when I equals 1, we are checking for A, AB, ABA and ABAD. In this case also we will get ABA itself. This is the only palindrome we have. A and ABA we get, right? So here A and ABA. So we already have A. Let me write here ABA. We already have ABA as well. Let me strike out this one. So we already got those palindromes previously. So there is nothing new here. Let's move to this one. When I equals 0. When I equals 0, we can check for B. We have to check for B, BA. We will check for BAB. We will check for BABA, and also we will check for BABAB, right here. So the output will be in this case BAB. So this is the new palindrome that we got here, right? So B is a palindrome of itself. Single palindrome, we already have the single palindrome A. So we will strike this one. So BAB is the only new palindrome that we got here, right? So we will consider this one here. So the longest palindromic substring that we got here is either this one we can consider ABA of length 3 and this one BAB of length 3. We can consider ABA or BAB, right? So this is the approach that we will be going with, right? So I hope the approach is completely clear. So next, let's discuss the edge cases one by one. First edge case I'll be going with here as single character. So input, I have considered only one character. So a single character is a palindrome of itself. We know that. Output will be A itself. So next, let's go with the all characters same. Means when we have all the characters same, we can just give the length of it. Means 4 times that itself, right? So double A, double A. In this case, output will be double A, right? So I hope this is clear. This is for the condition all characters same. So third edge case that we will be going with here is no palindrome larger than 1. ABCD we have considered here. We can all are different here, right? Either it can be A, either it can be B, either it can be C, either it can be D. We can return any one of them, A, B, C or D. So I hope this is clear. All the characters are different here. So no palindrome longer than 1. We are going for this one case, no palindrome longer than 1. So let's go with the fourth edge case here, even length palindrome. Even length palindrome here we have CBBD. So we can just consider BB here, right? Even length palindrome of length 2, right? Length is 2 here. So this will be the output here. This is for the this one case, even length palindrome. Finally, let's go with the case string with spaces. So A space B space A we have. So the output will be in this case A space B space A itself, right? So this is string with spaces mates. This also we need to consider. So these are the 5 edge cases that we need to consider. I hope this is clear. The first edge case that we went with here is single character. The second edge case that we went with here is all characters same. Third edge case that we went with here is no palindrome larger than 1. Fourth edge case that we went with here is even length palindrome, and the final edge case that we went with here is string with spaces. I hope all the edge cases are clear. Now let's start writing the code. So let's start writing the code. Here initially, as we had discussed, let's get the length of the input string. We'll be making use of the length of the input string again and again. So I'll just give here, instead of making use of s dot length everywhere, so I'll just consider here n equals length of the string, length of the s or length of the string here. So next is we had already discussed this one. We will be making use of the boolean dp array, or we'll be making use of the dp array to track the palindromes. So I'll just give here, let dp equals new array of, initially I'll just give n, and let's fill this one initially with the boolean value false, right? So I hope this is clear. Next, let's initialize the max palindrome length. So here this will be max length. Initially we will set this one to 1. We have discussed this one, right? Initially it will be set to 1, not 0. So we have discussed this one already in the approach. And also we have to consider the starting index of the longest palindrome. So starting, I'll just consider the variable start here and initialize this one to 0. So next what we will do, we will traverse from the end of the string to the beginning. Let's make use of the for loop here. For let I equals n minus 1, reverse iteration, nothing but we are starting from the last character for checking of the palindromes, right? Palindromic substring. So I'll just give here I greater than or equal to 0, decrement the I here. This is fine. Same goes with j as well. Let j equals n, and so I'll just consider here n minus 1, right? It has to be last one. So this one j greater than or equal to I and j minus minus. So this is fine. Inside the for loop, what we have to do, we have to check if s of ij is a palindrome or not, right? So that one, how can I articulate that one in the form of code? Here I'll just give dp of j here equals, what we have to check, whether it is a palindrome or not. Means s of I, we will compare this one with a s of j if it is. So, and also one more condition, j minus I is less than 2 or dp of j minus 1. We are checking for the single character as well, right? We are checking for the single character as well, and we are checking with the j for the next character as well. So we'll be writing this one in the form of this. So we have to check if s of ij is a palindrome or not. So we have written like this, sorry. So this is fine. Next step, if the palindrome is found and its length is greater than max length, then we have to update the max length. So how can we articulate that one in the form of code? Here in this step, we will check for all the palindromes. This is fine. So we will be checking for all the characters. So if we get the palindrome, or if the palindrome is found and its length is greater than the max length, here initially we will set the max length to 1. So if it is greater than the max length, then what we will do? We will update the max length. So this is simple if condition. We are just articulating in the same thing, the approach or the thought process what we have discussed in the approach in the form of code. That's it. So here if dp of j and j minus I plus 1, it has to be, right? J minus I plus 1 here is greater than max length. This one itself, j minus I plus 1, j minus I we have already considered, j minus I plus 1 greater than max length. Then what we will do? So we will set the max length to j minus I plus 1, right? Plus 1 we are setting here. So max length, we are incrementing the max length. So start, let me assign this one to the I. So this is it. This is for the if palindrome is found and its length is greater than max length, then we are updating here. The final step here is we have to return the longest palindromic substring. Means we will return here s dot substring of start comma start plus max length here. This is fine. So let me format the code once and let me hit the run button. Final step, we are just returning the longest palindromic substring here, right? Making use of this one substring. So here what happened? So you can clearly see the sample test cases are getting passed here. So let me hit the submit button quickly. So what happened to this one? Just give me a second here. Yeah, you can clearly see all the test cases are getting passed here. So you can clearly see here all the test cases are getting passed here, right? So let's quickly discuss the complexities of the code that we have written. So the code works absolutely correct because all the test cases are getting passed here. So let's quickly discuss the complexities of the code that we have written. So the approach that we went with here is dynamic programming, we know, and overall time complexity here would be big O of n to the power of 2 or n square. Why? Because we are checking all the substring using the dp. We have to check all the substrings, right? That is the reason we are making use of dp as well. So overall time complexity here would be big O of n square, going with 2 for loops here, because we have to check all the substrings here, right? So this is one thing. And what will be the space complexity here? Overall space complexity would be big O of n in this case. Why it is big O of n here, the space complexity? Because using a dp array of, we are making use of dp array of size n. You can clearly see here new array of n we are creating here, right? So we are making use of dp array which is of size n. So the overall space complexity would be here big O of n. I hope this is clear, the time complexity and the space complexity. So the time complexity here is big O of n square and the space complexity here is big O of n. So I hope the solution or the code that we have written is completely clear. For now, this is it. Thanks for watching, guys.